Wondering what life is really like on Canada's wild and crazy West Coast? This podcast is all about the people, the places, and Vancouver Island time. Together, we'll explore this island paradise, a combination of ocean, city, and country living. We'll meet the fabulous locals, such as the Fudge Fairy and the Chicken Lady, who have chosen Victoria and Vancouver Island as their home. And we'll learn what makes this place unique and special to those who live here. And now, your host of Vancouver Island Time, Jane Johnston.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jane Johnston. I'm with Vancouver Island Time, and I'm here with Rosemarie Barnes, and she's in Ladysmith. Now, Rosemarie wasn't always living in Ladysmith. She actually moved there. She chose to live there. She moved there from Alberta. So, Rosemarie, tell us a bit about Ladysmith. What is it that drew you to that lovely little town?
Good morning, Jane, and thank you for having me on the show. Ladysmith chose us. When we were looking for property on Vancouver Island, we drove all over. We went all the way from Comox, Courtenay, right down the way to Victoria, and we came 3 times on a mission of finding interesting properties. Our car kept turning in at Ladysmith. It was as if we didn't have a choice. We are on the south end of Ladysmith, up a little bit of overlooking the bay, and the scenery is pristine and clear and beautiful. We can see the mainland mountains clear as a bell on beautiful clear days. With the snow, we can see Garibaldi. We can see all the runs, the ski runs in Vancouver. But it's also a place of quiet contentment and containment. Ladysmith is a beautiful place. It has scenery to die for. The people are so community-minded as to be all-encompassing, but quite easy to close out when you need some peace for yourself. The thing about Ladysmith is you must like hills.
Oh, you have to walk up and down to get anywhere.
Up and down, up and down. Everything is up or down. Although in Ladysmith, I have to tell you that to get from the highway, the main road through, to get up to the top, you don't go up and down. You go up and up and up until you find forest. And then you can't go up anymore. There doesn't seem to be a down, but turn around and come back down. And the vista that you see is amazing. The shops on Main Street are dedicated to maintaining the image of Ladysmith as a small town. In fact, Ladysmith is not a small town. It's got a big population. It has 2 different high schools and multiple elementary schools. It has golf. It has swimming pools, a huge recreation center. It has everything that you could want in the town except for men's underwear. The only place in the town that you can buy men's underwear is if you happen to luck into some at the Pharmasave. Other than that,
I'm assuming they're for your husband and not you.
Well, absolutely. But it's a delightful place. It has, in the downtown core, there are no big box stores.
Yeah.
None. They're simply not allowed. It's bylawed out. On the edges, however, on the south end, we've got the big Save-On, and we've got Dairy Queen, and we've got McDonald's, and we've got the insurance places, and we've got everything that you need. But outside of the downtown core, that's preserved. And of course, everyone knows about the Ladysmith light up celebrations. There's nowhere like Ladysmith at Christmas.
Oh yeah, when is that? When's the light up parade?
Light up is generally second half of November. People come from Seattle. People come from the south end of Washington State. People come from Montana to come up to Ladysmith on Vancouver Island to witness the entire downtown core lit up like nobody's business. It is festivity in quotation marks.
So I think I've driven through Ladysmith. I know I have actually. So right now, the highway does sort of bisect the city a bit. And then the main core is just above the highway, correct?
It is. It's only one block up.
And isn't there like some great cinnamon bun store there? I seem to remember.
The Old Town Bakery.
Right.
If you have not tried Ladysmith cinnamon buns, you must. It's simply one of life experiences, like doing the trek across the mountains or climbing Mount Everest. Going to Ladysmith for cinnamon buns. They on the window it even says we have the best buns in town, and they are to die for.
So I came down, so you're about halfway down from Mount Washington to Victoria, so lots of people can go by there. I was just wondering why they aren't open on Sundays. To me, that's a total waste of consumers' time. You know, I drove into Ladysmith to get those cinnamon buns because I'd heard all about them, and they're not open on Sundays. So what's with that?
The town that time forgot has some very, very strong family values.
Right.
The people that own the shops along Main Street are family people. They recognize that the value of relationships at home are just as important as the relationships in the community and at work. So they deliberately roll up the streets of Ladysmith on Sundays to make sure that everyone has a well-rounded and balanced life here.
Interesting you say that, because I believe right next to the Old Town Bakery is a butcher shop, and that happened to be open. And beside that is a dog store or something, or a pet store. And so we went actually to get some toys and chewies for our dog, and we mentioned to the guy in the butcher shop, oh yeah, we're here to buy some chewies. And so he went to the back of his shop and he gave us some dog bones to give to our dog for free, which was really nice. So I have a fond memory of that, because I thought, you know, he didn't have to do that. He's never going to see me again, probably, but yeah.
That's the kind of people you meet in Ladysmith.
And so how long have you lived there then?
We moved here in July of 2013. So we're at 4.5 years and have no intention of leaving. The atmosphere here is very conducive to both reflective thought and adventure. Adventure here is only a footstep outside of the door. There's fabulous trails. Where I live, up on South Davis Road-ish, every lot is lovingly maintained. The neighbors form communities, and you never worry about having someone to make sure that no one's prowling around your lot. It's safe, it's warm, it's welcoming. It's just not big Storeville.
Yeah. Well, you're about 40 minutes south of Nanaimo, right?
No, I'm only 30 minutes and from south of Nanaimo and 20 minutes north of Duncan. To get to the main hub of Victoria, depending on the construction on the Malahat, can take anywhere between an hour and an hour and a half. Yeah. But still, considering that you are crossing over a mountain, the transportation hub is really very fine. And I spend a lot of time in Victoria for business, and it's so wonderful to come home to Ladysmith, where it's perfectly okay to go from gardening and doing niceties in the yard and just wash your hands and go to the Save On Foods to grab something for supper and know that it's okay here. You're accepted as you are.
Yeah. So one of the things I guess people should know about your proximity to Nanaimo is that you are then really close to the ferry.
And the airport.
Right. Oh,
and
right.
the airport. I'm where I am, and I'm at the very far south end of Ladysmith. I'm still only 10 minutes away from the Nanaimo airport.
Right. So you can hop over
That's
to
right.
Vancouver, and so yeah, really
Yep.
handy.
And from Nanaimo, of course, you can. And here's one of the benefits to living in proximity to the Nanaimo ferries, etc., is that the seaplane to hop over is only a 20-minute flight, and it costs much less to go from Nanaimo to Vancouver than it does to go from Victoria to Vancouver. It costs $40 less.
Get out of town.
I'm not. It's amazing. It's just great. On a regular day, it's $119 from Nanaimo. Out of Victoria, it's minimum $149.
Huh. So are you finding that people from Vancouver are moving to Ladysmith? Isn't that the one with Pamela Anderson, by the way?
Pamela Anderson lives just down the road.
Oh.
Or lived just down the road. The beaches are really lovely because they're rocky. However, the water, because it's such a secluded bay, the water is actually quite warm, and children are playing in it all the time. Transfer Beach.
Yeah. So are you finding that people are moving in from Vancouver to Ladysmith?
Absolutely. With a half an hour to the seaplane and 20 minutes to the docks in Vancouver at Canada Place, 20 minutes. Consider taking the ferry, which is an hour to wait in line, and then an hour and a half or a 2-hour crossing, and then drive to where you want to go. The seaplane makes a very nice option, and the ferries run really regularly. The earliest ferry goes at 5:15 in the morning. Yeah. So I can make it from Ladysmith to Vancouver for an 8:30 meeting without much effort at all.
Oh, cool. Yeah. And plus, so just north of you is Mount Washington, which is a beautiful ski resort, which many people drive up island to for the day for skiing.
Absolutely.
So, and then you can go also kayaking where you are and up island as well, beautiful in Parksville.
It's so easy to get to Englishman River Falls. It's so easy to get to Coombs and Goats on the Roof. It's completely just a straight line going up to Qualicum. And with the inland ferry, it's only 45 minutes to get from Ladysmith to Qualicum Beach. The other really interesting thing about Ladysmith is we seem to have our own little weather pattern.
Oh, yeah.
When it snowed, wasn't that a treat? Here in Ladysmith, we have a skiff of snow. Nanaimo's got inches of snow. Chemainus even has more snow than we do. Ladysmith seems to have this little pocket of nice.
Oh, yeah, you might be in the shadow of those mountains to the left of you, I'm thinking.
That's right. That's right.
I used to teach up in Nanaimo at what is now Vancouver Island University, so I drive. It would take me, about an hour and 20 minutes from where I live in Machosen. And I always noticed as I was coming into Nanaimo, they had way more snow, even than the rest of southern Vancouver Island. So,
oh, yes.
I think it's also your proximity to the ocean. You're very close to the ocean there and with that little bay.
I am at, my home is at 70 meters. We have to be careful to not get lightheaded up here. Yes, we can see the ferries going from to the Gulf Islands, and it's spectacular. We get everything from log dumping barges, which are fascinating, by the way. There's one that is a huge ship, but it simply reduces the air in one of its ballasts until the ship slowly tips over and dumps its load of cedar and Douglas fir into the bay, where the tugs are ready to scoop them all up and shoot them off into the mill and the sorting yards. And
Right.
it's fascinating. The other nice thing about Ladysmith is there's no pulp mill here. So we don't get the stinky. Ladysmith smells good.
I noticed that when I get off at the airport at Victoria, even from Vancouver, that Vancouver Island just smells really good.
It does. But if you're going near, because we're tending to be quite green here on the island, we have the composting centers. And they can be, if the wind is blowing the right way, and if they've just it can become fairly aromatic in places around the island. For example, driving into Duke Point to catch that ferry drives right past a huge composting yard. But here in Ladysmith, the winds blow different directions and we never get the smells. It's just clean, pure, invigorating ocean air.
So about living, one thing that I like to do living in Victoria is go out for dinner. Last night we went out to a nice little place in downtown Victoria called Famoso for pizza. Just wondering, what do you do for, I remember going to a really nice, I don't know if it's still there, a really nice Indian restaurant in Ladysmith. Do you go out for dinner there? Or?
The Indian restaurant is so popular. We have a sushi restaurant here that's very, very nice. We have a couple of Asian food restaurants that are delightful. They're small, they're intimate, the food is homemade. We have the best pizza in the world. It's called Roberts Street Pizza, and it is phenomenal. The toppings on them are so thick you need a pickaxe to get through them, and it's just tremendous. There's a restaurant here for just about we have a gluten-free restaurant, and right across the street from the cinnamon bun place, it's phenomenal, which is right next door to a place called Wigwam, where the proprietor doesn't cook anything until you order it, and then it comes out steaming hot and just so yummy.
Well, it sounds like a fabulous place to live. So I recommend anybody who wants to go up there, probably the best time to visit is around Christmas when they do the light up.
And not on a Sunday.
And not on a Sunday. Yeah, so you can enjoy those cinnamon buns and maybe go also in the summer when you can enjoy the beach and the beautiful weather there. We do get a high over the islands for weather, and essentially in my 20 years that I've lived here on Vancouver Island, it doesn't really rain in the summer, so it's a great place to visit, and I highly recommend Ladysmith. So we're going to take a break for a little bit. We'll be back, and we're going to talk about Rosemarie and find out who she is and how it is that she came to move here and what she's focused on now for her business on Vancouver Island. Talk to you soon.
Vancouver Island Time is brought to you by the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun, Victoria, where we bring local expertise and global presence to your property.
Okay, and we're back with Rosemarie Barnes. She lives in Ladysmith on Vancouver Island, so that's about 2/3 of the way up from Victoria up to Nanaimo. Nanaimo's in the lower third of Vancouver Island. She's on the east coast. And Rosemarie, tell us about you. What do you do, and how do you work on Vancouver Island? How does that work for you?
My husband and I moved to Ladysmith in the summer of 2013. I was a teacher. I taught high school, theater, music, English if I had to, and I am a grammar Nazi. I am a self-proclaimed grammar Nazi, and you will use words brilliantly because otherwise you may as well be a tuba. When we came, my husband is a civil engineer, having worked in Edmonton for all of his life. We came to Vancouver Island just in time for the teachers' strike.
Yeah, and I understand. Yeah, that's devastating here.
It meant that finding gainful employment in teaching, the opportunities were somewhat limited.
Which is
truth
it now, right? Because we have a lot of growth on Vancouver Island. So
absolutely.
more high schools and middle schools developing, and lots of opportunities for teachers. Yeah.
And the beauty of it is that in actual fact, I seem to have a 7-year career expectancy before I've been there, done that. I've already used the T-shirt for something else, and it's time to conquer something else. So when I came to Vancouver Island, I realized that in my teaching, because I was teaching theater and music, that most of my time was spent actually counseling kids, because if I'm going to ask you to quack like a duck for me in drama class, you have to know it's safe. And most of the time was spent shoring up their confidence. I began Confidence Stages, confidencestages.com. Now, I had a wonderful idea. I was going to help people find their confidence so they could reach their full potential. There was a slight flaw in that theory. People lacking self-confidence do not go out and sign up for confidence classes. Issue. So then I began to think, what are the biggest fears of human beings? Well, one is death, and the next runner-up is the fear of public speaking. Well, my goodness, in my past, I've done nothing but live on a stage, whether it was through dance, whether it was through voice, whether it was through drama, whether it was through speaking, whether I was a teacher in front of a class or running the purchasing department at a major university. I communicate. So confidence speaking became centered around building confidence around public speaking for business.
Yeah.
My tagline is speak to engage, speak to succeed. And what I do is I'm a keynote speaker. I speak about bridging the generation in 21st century business. Our values are changing, as they always do as time goes by. The problem is that we are at loggerheads with each other's generations in the workplace, and it's so unnecessary. It's a communication issue. So I teach people in business how to bridge those gaps, how to get the brilliance out of each and every person working with you. And I do that by teaching them to communicate, by understanding values. The other thing that I do is I've actually just rebranded my company to include a public speaking academy. And I have full programming starting from the idea to taking your final bow, how to organize your content so that neither you nor your audience can forget it, how to deliver it with power and with persuasive techniques, even how to use your voice as an extra tool in your toolkit to make sure that your message is being received the way you intend it. In business, that's not quite as simple as it sounds. There's a huge difference in casual conversation and giving a presentation. And a presentation can be anything from one-to-one across a desk for a little employee feedback, all the way through to a boardroom, to a theater, to a full conference, and everything in between. And happily, it all follows the same route, the same planning, the same techniques for making it as powerful as it can be. So that's what Confidence Stages does. And I have so many success stories. I have to tell you that I really do get my absolute jollies from watching people succeed.
Do you have clients all over the world?
I have
live, right?
No, it doesn't matter where you live, because in this world of electronics and communication with ease, I can teach you what you need to know. Now, I am a live and in-person girl. I have energy, which is out all over the place. That said, we do find a way to meet in person.
Face-to-face and then follow up online or vice versa.
That's right. It is a safe program so that where every step of the way, the safety net is there. I'm very good at creating safe. You will never feel intimidated. You will always feel in control. And here's the bit. You see, self-confidence can't be given to you. Self-confidence has to come from within yourself. But if you can face the trembling and the trepidation that comes along with most people thinking about speaking in front of an audience, conquer that. What can you not?
Yeah, I was at a seminar the other day. I attend a weekly half an hour seminar on training on using my system called Bank Code. And they are actually in need of speaker training, the people who are presenting. Yeah, so I might introduce you to them. That would be great.
That would be wonderful.
But one of what was interesting was the gentleman who was speaking on Monday has been instructing and training for over 30 years, and his focus was on dentistry, a very specific niche market. And he says he still gets nervous. So I think it's, for me, so I was a former drama teacher and phys ed teacher as well. And in both, just before you're about to do your best, that's when you get the nerves. And if you don't have your nerves and you're not going to be peaking in terms of your performance, I think. So they're essential, but you do have to control them. Yeah.
Well, and there's the thing. We need the butterflies to make us effervescent, but we need them to fly in formation.
Right. Good point.
Without the butterflies and the excitement, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
If it's boring and blasé, guess how your message will be received? So for people that actually have done this all their lives and the thrill is gone, I can actually show them how to put the excitement back in so that their message bubbles and is received with that enthusiasm.
So who's your ideal client? Male, female, age? And when you do so I'm asking you two questions here, sorry. So when you're doing your talk about the intergenerational communication, are you working also with the young kids, the 20-year-olds, as well as the other like 30, 40, 50-year-olds? Or are you finding you're working with the older group?
In actual fact, it's our young people whose language skills are somewhat wanting. Like, dude, you cannot speak in business the way you speak with your buddies around the fire pit. If you want to be respected, if you want your ideas to have merit, you must learn to speak for business. Our young people need that desperately. I have written 2 books, actually. One is about confident but being heard above the noise, and the other is called Confident Leadership in 21st Century Business, Bridging the Generation Gaps. And here's the thing. Our younger generations are brilliant. And I am so tired of millennial bashing. I'm just so done with it. Our millennials and their younger counterparts, Generation Z, have so much to offer. Here's the thing, is that it is equally possible to work with both. Now, the majority of my corporate clients are just that, leaders in business. Their age doesn't matter, because if business and profits and success is the goal, then the way of communicating that is the same throughout. The trick is you have to speak with them differently. You have to understand their values and go from there. So it does not matter whether you are male or female, left-brained, right-brained, modern, old-fashioned. The way you speak in business is the same.
Yeah.
So, for example, I work with companies like World Tree, who are reducing our carbon footprint on this planet, and their cause is good, and it's just, and they have to speak to be understood. They are ladies. They are not spring chickens, but they're certainly nowhere near over the hill either. and it all works the same way. So ideal clients can be individuals in business, men, women in business, entire corporations. Because you can have the best branding in the world. Your brand can be brilliant. It can speak your praises when you're not there. And as soon as we open our mouths, we can completely eviscerate it.
Mm-hmm. So, and I think for someone getting a leg up, probably a millennial would really benefit, just to give them the leapfrog approach, so you can help them really superpower their speaking, I guess.
They can catapult themselves out of
the average
mediocrity into a place where they can share all the things that they know, and they know a great number of them. It's quite astonishing to see what they bring to the business workplace.
To go from ordinary to extraordinary, eh?
Hey, dude.
Okay, well, thank you so much for introducing us to Ladysmith today and telling us all about yourself. I've really enjoyed our conversation. Rosemarie and I know each other through eWomen Network. She's a member, and she's available for speaking if you're interested in other cities around the world. And if you want to visit Ladysmith, I'm sure Rosemarie would be happy to give you a tour.
Absolutely.
All the highlights. So that's Ladysmith for you. Welcome to the neighborhood. I'm Jane Johnston with Vancouver Island Time. We'll see you next time on the island. Bye-bye.
Welcome to the neighborhood. We hope you have had some insight into West Coast living. If you know of someone or some place that should be highlighted in our podcast, we'd love to hear from you. Please go to VancouverIslandTime.com and click on our Connect button. See you next week on Vancouver Island Time with Jane Johnston.
Have you ever asked yourself this question? Why is it so hard to make a buck? I know I have. Hi, I'm Sandra Yancey, founder and CEO of eWomen Network. What I have discovered after going from the brink of bankruptcy to running a multi-million-dollar award-winning business is this: you can't build $1 million dream hanging around minimum wage mindsets. My mission is 1 million women entrepreneurs generating $1 million in annual revenue. So here's what I've done. I've created the mother of all entrepreneur success programs that you can access online on your time. It's called Monetize Me Now. It's a 7-module online course that is 100% my success formula, covering mindset, mission, management, motivation, marketing, and measure. Come on, take my hand and I'll show you the way to learn to earn flowing revenue for your business. Visit monetizemenow.com for details.